thing to be given and
Hey guys, it's Unuchiya back here for another What If video. Today we're doing What If Naruto had the power of the four cardinal heroes. I think part 10. Yeah, I'm 90% sure it's part 10. 10% sure it's part 11. Anyways, last part we left off with Choji losing to Kurotsuchi. Anyways, between the time of this part and the last part, which is like 1.5 weeks, I think, I've managed to come up with the rest of the matchups, which will be Shino versus Fu, along with what was the other one? Oops, I think I forgot again. Wait, no. I'm pretty sure there wasn't really anyone else other than Shikamaru. So Shikamaru gets a free pass. Anyone else will be after Sasuke. Also, Shikamaru will also be after Sasuke's fight. Anyways, so how Hinata versus Lee will happen. Lee would take off his weights immediately at Hinata's request, as Lee didn't want to disrespect Hinata by not using his full power. Then Lee also thought that Hinata was likely on the same level as Neji and knew that if he beat Hinata, he would likely have been able to beat Neji as well. So yeah, Lee would do his best to defeat Hinata. Also, Guy already gave him permission. So yeah. And we would charge at fast speeds towards Hinata, who would quickly avoid the attack and would strike back with a few Jayuken strikes, which we had learned where most of his Tenketsu were, and not wanting his 8 inner gates to be blocked in case he needed them, we decided to redirect the Jayuken strikes to the Jayuken point or Tenketsu, where the 8 inner gates won't be blocked by. Though after this concurred a few times, which we also got a few hits in on Hinata, though they were all blocked, Hinata realized this and decided to mainly aim for those Tenketsu points with the 8 inner gates. We would realize that if this kept up, he would lose and would quickly open up the first gate, unlocking all of those points that won't interrupt the 8 gates' use, though they did or would have weakened the 8 gates a bit, though we just required the 8 gates to be available, not at full power even. We would continue to fight Hinata and would even outspeed her half the time, as Hinata realized that she'd have to step it up, as Lee was about to deliver a uppercut towards Hinata. Hinata used a one-sided rotation with her Jayuken, then delivered a few Jayuken palms, which caused the 8 inner gates to begin to flicker. Hinata took this opportunity to prepare the 128 palms, and would succeed, though in the middle of it, Lee began blocking, though had difficulty. Lee quickly activated the second gate, rejuvenating most of the Tenketsu, though Lee's Tenketsu were still being shut off, so his second gate, even if he had the third gate on, his third gate would only be as powerful as his second gate. So yeah, Lee's power is severely cut off with the 8 inner gates. Now, we would go charge back towards Hinata, as we activated the third gate, launching a combo attack, and would prepare the primary lotus. As Hinata was carried into the air and we used the dancing leaf shadow, Hinata would realize what we was doing and would try to struggle away. The we in the third gate was far stronger than Hinata and Taijutsu, so there was no way. So as Hinata was being launched towards the ground, Hinata would realize she'd have to activate her cursed Jayuken. Hinata would activate the curse mark in a purple aura and would be prepared to fight Wii. Hinata, just before hitting the ground, would reverse the hidden lotus upon Wii, doing damage upon Wii more than Hinata, though Hinata still took a large amount of damage from it having a broken finger, which would be a detriment to her Jayuken. Luckily for Hinata, though, Wii had one of his legs be injured enough that Wii's speed would slow down by around 10 to 15%. As we would realize he had to do this quickly as his injuries were only getting worse due to his 8 gates, we would activate the 4th gate now and would engage in taijutsu with the heavily enhanced cursed Jayuken user, as we would still be knocked back, proving to be no match even in the 4th gate. We would activate the 5th gate and then the 6th, and would use the morning peacock at Hinata. Hinata would activate the cursed rotation, easily blocking all of them, as we would charge up back at Hinata, launching a kick that sent Hinata into the air. We reverted back to the 5th gate but continued the dancing on the hidden lotus. As we would be about to, grab onto Hinata, Hinata would counter it with another Jayuken strike, which knocked the air out of Wii, as Hinata and Wii in the middle of the air would clash in taijutsu, both proving to be evenly matched, as Hinata would then use the 158 palms on Wii. We would be heavily surprised at this, as he thought the Hyuga limit was 128, as Hinata proved this wrong by easily defeating Wii with this technique. As Hinata reached the 30th palm, the 5th gate flickered out and reverted to the 4th. At the 54th palm, the 4th gate reverted to the 3rd gate, so on and so on, until the 134th palm, we lost all his gates and nearly all his chakra points that were major were destroyed or closed off, though they were also slowed enough to heavily weaken Wii. As Hinata would finish the 158 palms, we would be on the ground, unconscious, with a lot of injuries on him, multiple bruises all around. The cursed Jayuken did not only deliver tenketsu damage, but were devastating in normal ways as well. As we had trouble getting up during Hinata's combo, we had trouble continuing on. Though if we had played a little smarter by reverting back out of the 8 inner gates to lessen the damage in the middle of the hidden lotus, the hidden lotus, we should have just made a quick escape and used long distance kunai and use his bandages to try and trap Hinata from a range while sticking back to the 2nd gate in order to reduce the amount of damage he took. We would have been far enough away in order to get a surprise attack on Hinata. Though Hinata still would have won, we would have prepared or would have been a better fight. Anyways, now, Shino versus Fu. Shino would first unleash a swarm of bugs, that proving to be ineffective as the bugs refused to attack Fu. Shino, being the logical person he is, realized that it would be impossible for him to beat Fu, as his bugs refused to attack Fu and his bugs were the only form of offense he possessed. So Shino realized that he should just give up. And Shino gives up. Anyways, now it's Sasuke versus Gaara. Sasuke and Gaara would clash, Sasuke's speed being formidable and Sasuke's lightning-enhanced strikes were extremely powerful, as Sasuke had his free Tomoe Sharingan activated, easily avoiding the sand, though the sand's defense, as long as it was staying close to Gaara, Sasuke had to try to disable it with his lightning-fast jabs, as they were not only as fast as lightning, but they were similar to the fourth Raikage's lightning armor, as it surrounded Sasuke's hand in lightning, a powerful aura of lightning. So yeah, I think Gaara's gonna have some trouble with this one, as Sasuke would use the body flicker to get near Gaara. Gaara, seeing this, would surround one of his hands in sand, forming a claw-like structure. As Sasuke and Gaara would clash, Sasuke's hand being surrounded by lightning, while Gaara's was surrounded by sand claws. They would clash, no one being the better fighter here, as Sasuke decided that it would be good to trade blows. Sasuke would surround his hand in not only a more powerful lightning chakra or larger amount of lightning chakra, but also a bit of fire chakra. As Sasuke would jab Gaara, Gaara would have his sand armor to protect him. Though the sand armor broke and drew some blood from Gaara, Gaara managed to stab Sasuke's right arm, or left arm, as Sasuke would scream out in pain, as Sasuke would perform one-handed hand seals, and would shoot a fireball to get at Gaara. As before the stand could enclose on Sasuke, Sasuke would body flicker out of the way. And yeah, basically ignore those messages. Anyways, basically Gaara would continue to, scream out in pain and anger as the invasion would begin. Sasuke was holding on to his injury tightly and would quickly surround it in bandages, and would use some weak medical ninjutsu to stabilize the wound to where it wouldn't be bleeding anymore and the bandages could take care of it. Though Sasuke knew his left arm would be inactive for a few minutes, as Hinata and Naruto would get on the stadium and would tell Sasuke that an invasion was starting. As Sasuke would nod at this, and Naruto would tell Sasuke and Hinata that he'd go on and defeat Gaara. They should go help the rest of the army, or to help the rest of the Hidden Leaf. As before Naruto could go, Sasuke and Hinata would both grab onto Naruto, and before Naruto could say anything, Sasuke would quickly respond, "No, Naruto. Me and Hinata can handle Gaara." Though Naruto would try to say no, Sasuke would reveal that both he and Hinata knew about Gaara's tailed beasts, And with their combined power, as Hinata's cursed Gyukin was powerful enough to match the one-tailed chakra cloak, and Sasuke still had a trump card that can subdue the one-tailed beast even in the full transformation. The mini Manjakayo Sharingan, like Sasuke's version of the weaker version of the Manjakayo Sharingan. That's the secret weapon Sasuke's talking about. So yeah, as Hinata would also intervene, telling Naruto that with Naruto's shadow clones, Naruto could send a squad of 10 to each side of the gates to go help out the village, and Hinata would point towards the barrier up on top of the Hokage mansion, saying that Hiruzen will need help as in his old age he won't be strong enough to defeat Orochimaru. As Naruto would argue that the Anbu were strong enough to handle it, but before he could do that, right as he said that, a Anbu went flying out of the building, as he was burnt and black from all of the burns that he had. So yeah, he had some trouble at the moment, as Naruto would finally relent and would go on towards the Hokage mansion, as Naruto would create 40 shadow clones, each in a squad of 10, in order to defeat or help guard all of the corners of the village. So yeah, now Naruto's gonna be continuing on to the Hokage mansion. As Naruto arrived, the Anbu quickly told Naruto that the barrier was unbreakable. Naruto would see Orochimaru use the Edo Tensei on 3 souls. It was Hashirama, Tobirama, and Minato. In this timeline, Minato was revived. As Naruto would say, I won't let them do this, as Naruto would charge up demonic chakra in one of his hands, along with activating the sword unconsciously. As the sword was activated, even though Naruto wasn't showing it, as it was behind a seal. As Naruto managed to enhance his fist with a hell load of demonic chakra, Naruto would also surround it in both of his elemental affinities, water and wind. As this fist, all of the Anbu could feel a massive power within it. As Naruto would punch the barrier would try to burn Naruto's hand, though the water and wind combined easily stopped that. As the barrier would easily break, the Anbu would tell Naruto that they'd handle the other guards, as Naruto had proven that he was strong enough to go help the 3rd Hokage, at least stronger than the rest of the Anbu. Naruto would enhance himself with the bow, preparing for combat. As Orochimaru and Naruto would have a small discussion, as Orochimaru would try to reveal Naruto's heritage and even had Minato do it, as much as Hiruzen tried to stop it, only to be surprised when Naruto would say that he already knew about it and didn't care, though he wanted Hiruzen to tell it to him himself. Guess that was impossible now, as Naruto had already realized that the 3rd Hokage wouldn't trust him with any of those. The 3rd Hokage would just see him as a kid that still needed responsibility, probably until he was probably right before he was gonna become Hokage, would Hiruzen actually tell him about it. As Naruto had realized that the trust Hiruzen had in him wasn't very large anymore, as Naruto would say that as much as he wished Hiruzen would have told him, he knew that Hiruzen wouldn't trust him enough to do that. As Hiruzen felt a pang of guilt along with Minato feeling that, as Minato knew that his request was for Naruto to only be informed of his heritage when he reached Jonin. Even though Naruto was beyond Jonin level, it seems Hiruzen still kept to that, which angered Naruto. As Orochimaru would decide to send Minato and Hashirama towards Naruto, or just Minato towards Naruto, as Hiruzen would continue to fight Orochimaru. Naruto would at first try to match Minato's speed, using the bow and all of the abilities and speed he could use. As Naruto and Minato would clash, Naruto would use rain of arrows, which Minato would throw Hiraishin kunai and would multiply it to 50. As the arrows and kunai would clash, so would Naruto and Minato. Minato using a kunai, while Naruto switching to his sword, Uzumaki Iron Blade version 2. As Naruto would use multi-crescent moon slashes, knocking Minato back and even cutting Minato in half, Minato would easily recover from it due to the Edo Tensei. As Minato was about to land a cut while Naruto's back was turned but was only countered by it. As soon as Naruto realized that Minato was able to still move, Naruto would be shocked but still realize that the Edo Tensei would likely require sealing. As Naruto would quickly avoid it and would counter with a heavily chakra-enhanced sword slash towards Minato, as Minato would have trouble going towards Naruto. Naruto and Minato would continue to clash, Naruto this time deciding to use his ultimate self-created jutsu that he made just for the sole purpose of, proving that he won't rely on his special abilities. As Naruto would say, Forbidden Art, Multi-Elemental Jutsu, Ultimate Twin Blades, and Extreme Fist Explosion, something like that. Basically, Naruto would you know what, I have a name for it, as Naruto would say, Secret Art, Wrath of the Ocean. As Naruto would surround his hands in large amounts of chakra, along with also surrounding it in a large amount of water elemental chakra, which was sharpened by wind elemental chakra. As Naruto would surround the area in the water element, along with leaving some trails of water around the ground, which Naruto easily slides off with. As Naruto was sliding along with the water, Minato was having some trouble getting around, as Minato's now main type of movement was with the Hiraishin now, as Minato could no longer move properly due to the water being extremely slippery. As Naruto would then begin to destroy Minato, attempting to destroy every single cell, hoping that'll work, though it didn't, as Naruto would realize he'd have to take down Orochimaru, as Naruto would create 2 heavily enhanced shadow clones, each with 10% of his chakra, as both of them would keep on fighting Minato, having a weaker version of Naruto's Wrath of the Ocean active, able to easily hold off Minato. As if this were the actual Minato, they would both be even. Though Minato was only summoned at 20% power in order for Orochimaru to control all of them. As Minato was controlled at 20%, Tobirama was controlled at 40%, and Hashirama was also controlled at 20%. As Orochimaru was around Kage level, he wasn't strong enough to control two of the strongest Kage, along with an average Kage. As that would be too much if they were all at, even if they were all at 40%, that would be too much for Orochimaru. If they were all at 30%, it'll be a stretch for that to work, but it's possible. Anyways, now it'll be, basically Hiruzen's beginning to use the shadow clones now, wanting to make sure the village in Naruto is safe, so that he could, hopefully at least somewhat make it up to Naruto, as Hiruzen would be able to seal away Tobirama with this newfound willpower. As Naruto would just arrive on the scene, seeing Orochimaru approaching Hiruzen from the back, Naruto would body flicker behind Hiruzen, and just as the Kusanagi was about to slice through him, Naruto would activate the Wrath of the Ocean at 150%, going beyond the normal power of the jutsu. Activating the Rage Blade, Naruto would easily punch away Kusanagi, breaking it. As powerful as it was no match for Naruto's Rage Blade, Wrath of the Ocean enhanced punch. As Naruto had just before that copied Kusanagi. As before Orochimaru could react, Naruto would begin to pummel Orochimaru with a strike upon strike upon strike of the, Wrath of the Ocean. Of course, this was on less of a scale due to Naruto's hands being injured due to the fact of, Naruto was going beyond a certain percentage and limit of a jutsu isn't well advised. As it can cause serious damage. So Naruto had some trouble with it. So yeah, Naruto can't use it at full power right now, as he turned off the Rage Blade during this assault. As Orochimaru was pummeled, Orochimaru slithered out of his, pretty sure it's his own skin that he slithers out of. Orochimaru would slither out of his own skin, as Orochimaru or Naruto would continue to pummel Orochimaru for a minute straight, as Hiruzen was nearly able to seal off the first Hokage. As right before the first Hokage was sealed off, around 100 strikes of wood was coming towards Naruto from behind. As, Hiruzen would quickly get there in order to help Naruto. As Hiruzen would create a mud wall, which Hiruzen knew was gonna get pierced. As Hiruzen would quickly push Naruto out of the way. As Hiruzen braced himself for his death, which he thought was coming. As Hiruzen was bracing for his own death, Naruto would see this and would go red. He, as much as he lost his respect for Hiruzen, Naruto didn't want Hiruzen to die. As Naruto's eyes would turn red as a two-tailed cloak would activate. As Naruto would say, Rage Shield, Ultimate Counter. As the Rage Shield took all of the strikes, though nothing would happen to it. It would seem that the Rage Shield was far more powerful as expected, of course, than a weakened Hashirama. As, wow, that guy must be good at comboing. Anyways, Naruto would realize, or Naruto would just continue to try to defeat Hashirama. As Naruto would reflect all of the wooden stakes back towards, like those wooden spike things. Naruto would reflect all of them back at Hashirama, as Hashirama was quickly pierced all over, as the two heroes and shadow clones would quickly seal Hashirama away. As the Anbu were being taken down by the Curse Mark II Sound 4 members, the Sound 4 quickly realized the situation Orochimaru was in and would quickly take Orochimaru away, though not before 3 of their members were killed, as Teiwaya, Jirobo, and Sakon and Ukon were all killed by the Anbu, along with Naruto and Hiruzen, of course. Naruto and Hiruzen after this would have a long talk. Meanwhile, during all of this, Hinata and Hinata and Sasuke were fighting Gaara. Gaara would quickly enter the mini Shukaku form, along with creating 1,000 mini Shukaku clones. As Hinata was easily able to deal with them, telling Sasuke that she could handle all of the clones, and not to let Gaara go full Shukaku, as Hinata would easily, with her cursed Chayukin, be able to handle all of them, though was being pushed back a few times. As powerful as the Santa clones were, being imbued with the demonic chakra, nature chakra, even in a bastardized version, was stronger than the tailed beast chakra at zero-tailed state. So yeah. Hinata would easily defeat Gaara's clones, along with using rotation to easily hold off the sand. Meanwhile, Gaara and Sasuke were clashing, as Gaara was around 40% of the way before becoming full Shukaku. So Sasuke had some trouble, as Gaara shot a tailed beast bomb at Sasuke. Sasuke would activate a Raikiri with purple lightning along with white hot flames, and Sasuke would counter the tailed beast bomb with this powerful attack, though it would explode, sending Sasuke back a few hundred meters. Sasuke within 10 seconds would make it back, only to see Gaara was 90% of the way there. As Sasuke would charge the purple lightning inferno Raikiri on both hands, Sasuke would continue to begin to slice up and turning the Shukaku 90% size to, bits, as Sasuke would manage to continuously stab it, and Sasuke was knocked back away after his, combo was taken care of. After his purple lightning Raikiri Inferno was taken down. So yeah, that happened. Anyways, yeah, Gaara went full Shukaku, as Sasuke would realize he'd have to do it, as Sasuke would activate his Semi-Mon Jekaiyo, as Hinata quickly took down all 1,000 of the Gaara's Sand clones, as Hinata would see the giant Shukaku, as Sasuke would stand levitating above it, as Sasuke was slowly falling down. Hinata could see Sasuke's eyes changing in pattern, as Sasuke's eyes would become the Manjekayo, as Sasuke would use the Amaterasu, which covered the whole Shukaku form, Sasuke would wink as blood came pouring out of both eyes as they quickly reverted back to Sasuke's normal Sharingan, and Sasuke closed them due to the pain. As Hinata realized what was going on, Hinata quickly helped Sasuke up as the invasion would soon end. So yeah, this is the end of the What If video. Hope you enjoyed, and peace out.